your journey came from need.
Yes, well, I took care of my Aunt Kay for many years, and at first she just needed a little bit of care, but there got to be a time where she needed more care than I could give her. And I thought, naively, that there were these houses with nice ladies in them that were gonna take care of my Aunt Kay. And she would watch the shows that she liked, and she would drink the drinks that she likes, and they would care for her the way that I did. We had to look at nursing homes for her. And what I found was so deplorable and so horrible, but there was no choice. There's really no other choice but that when someone needs that much care. So she was in the nursing home. She died a month later. That is something that I have trouble getting over. Fast forward to a couple years later, COVID happened. I was at home, and I had all this time to think. And I also had time to enjoy my baby son, who was 1 year old. And at that point, when all of that was going on, I said to myself, I have to make that house that I wanted for her.
Your goal was, I want to find a house in a residential area and have people cared for in
a dignified manner.
Right.
Not a place that looks like a hospital. I was in commercial real estate, so I knew what I had to do. I looked into the zoning. I got an SBA loan. I had a little bit myself and put it all in and signed our house over. This particular property, the first one that I have here in Gladwin, needed a lot of work. You have to do a lot of renovations, and costs just got worse and worse, and more things happened. In construction, they call it the FU factor, you know? Right? Things happen, and I was in trouble. I was in big trouble. At the same time, when I didn't know what I was gonna do, and I had to go smile at the construction workers every day. Hello, you're never gonna get paid. Came into the house one day, and I saw signs. Stop Rosette. No senior living at 1157. It was everywhere. You drove into Gladwin, they had signs, bump, 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 like as soon as you came in. And that was devastating. It was devastating, it was heartbreaking. I had this idea like the neighbors were gonna come bring cookies for the old ladies, and it was gonna be great, you know.
Do you guys know what NIMBY stands for? Not in my backyard.
And it really speaks to how people feel about elderly people, how they feel about disabled people living too close to them. They should be over on the commercial part of town. At the same time, I'm running out of money. I'm already out of money. They were challenging the zoning. And even though they had not a leg to stand on, I still had to go to these and pay lawyers to come with me. So they were trying to stop it by money, and it was working. My house was signed over. I'm tucking in my little boy at night thinking, what have I done? Inside, it was heart-wrenching. So when I started needing this money, I went out and was trying to pitch this to certain people. But the one thing about investors is that, has anyone seen Wonder Woman? There's this part of the movie, and it's called No Man's Land, the No Man's Land scene, because everything leads up to this. And the whole part of the movie, they're telling her, don't go out, you can't do it, you can't, you know, this is too dangerous, you can't do it. And she ends up making the decision to go out there on her own into this battlefield to try to help the people in the town. So she goes out and she's taking all of the fire, and the men are in the trench looking over like, and they're just watching. And then she started taking all the fire and she started advancing. And it wasn't until she had her shield down, she was literally on the ground. She was almost done. That was as far as she could go. So that's literally what happened. I had a lot of people watching, and when I made it to a certain point, I got a call from someone who knew what I was doing. And I'll never forget this day. He said, I thought about it, and I'm going to give you the money for the rest of the project. And I hung up the phone. Something happened to me. I literally collapsed on the ground. And I'm gonna get really emotional when I talk about it, but all of that stress and the signs and my son and everything. It just made me just collapse in tears. Like, I couldn't believe I finally got this money and things were going to be okay. To this day, I don't think that investor knows how bad things were and how much I needed that. But, you know, it was one of the best days of my life. So it's a really tough road when you put so much on the line. But when you make the decision to do that, you know, you have to be prepared to be out on that battlefield, losing everything.
So how did you get over the NIMBYs?
Someone tipped off a reporter who came down and just wrote a small story, and it got circulated. It went so far that became the advertising that I needed. So the neighbors, they ended up helping me because people read the article and were like, this sounds great for my mom. And then that's how I got my first resident, and I got my second resident the same way, and the third resident that way. So.
So are you full in that?
Yes, now I'm full.
Yay. Mm-hmm. Isn't that awesome?
So that's our kitchen with the dining room in the back. I mean, that's the kind of life that someone is used to. They're used to their home. They don't want to live in a hospital. When you're in a hospital, do you want to live there? Do you want to say, you know what I need? I need to just stay here forever. No. You want to get out of the hospital. Well, elderly people do too, particularly if they have dementia. They're always in a state of, I got to get out, I got to get out, I got to get out, I got to get out. When they're in this environment, it compounds on itself, that feeling of familiarity with a home, the smell of the food being cooked in front of them, not in a cafeteria, at a table with other people that are like them. It's a little family environment. That compounds on itself day after day. We've seen people progress so beautifully. It's so beautiful. We do their makeup and hair every day. We make sure they wear the clothes that they liked. We put on the TV that they like. There's so much that you can do for elderly people that have had these simple dignities stripped away from them, because that's what we're led to believe is the only option when you get to that state. Like, that's where you go. You go to a nursing home. It's a disgrace, and it's now become my goal in life to dismantle these nursing homes the way that they've dismantled those big insane asylums that they had everyone with mental difficulties and intellectual disabilities. They used to put them away. We're still doing that to our elderly. Why can't they live amongst us? Why can't they be in a home? Why have we medicalized life for an elderly person?
I think you're doing a few more now?
Yes, we just bought the second one, and I'm shopping for the third one.
Let's give her another round of applause.